All right, welcome to another Paranormal Highway. Today, we're talking about the 10 scariest countries in the world according to the Paranormal Activity Society. Now, I'm not here to verify to say, are these places the true most haunted places in the world? I went by websites, charts, I kind of put it together, kind of made my own thing. And the 10 I'm going to give you is going to be the list that somehow it's an organization that takes takes activities like UFO, like MUFON or places like that. So if your place is not number one, don't get on me. This is just for fun. Before the intro comes on, please vote. Simple question: do you believe in ghosts? Simple question: yes and a no. Then myself and my special guest, exploring Harley, we're gonna talk about this top 10 and see if he knows some famous hauntings in some of these areas. So get ready, get some popcorn, go to the bathroom real quick, slap yourself in the mirror. I don't know, because baby, we're getting this party started. All right, this is so exciting because for one thing, Harley, you know this. I mean, even though lists are for fun, because there is no technically true list of every haunting counting there is, because I don't even know how, like, honestly, I've never even heard of this Paranormal Activity Society that you can even report
Me
of
neither.
paranormal stuff. You know what I mean? I mean, it's like, who do you report it to in the first place? It's We all know 80% of people who has paranormal experiences don't tell anybody about it anyway. Just maybe their closest friends and their family. So these reports are just, I guess you could say, for fun.
Yeah, I would like to say hello to Anthony and looking forward to probably in the really near future, going to do an investigation with Anthony in his nick in the woods in Staten Island. So, hello, Anthony.
Yeah.
Good to see you. And Long Island Bigfoot, Mike, hello. Terry Brown, Jojo. I saw that. Danny Stanton in the house, and yeah,
Like I said, I think you and I were talking before the show started. I might have
yes,
to talk to my wife into, hey, let's go visit your family in November, and then I go scoot off a couple of days.
yeah. November, October, November. It could be cool because October. Well, it's gonna be Anthony's birthday. It could be like his
Oh,
birthday kind of investigation.
yeah, he turns 18.
He turned eight. He's turning. Oh, he's turning 21, so he's gonna be in the legal age to
21.
drink.
Yeah, that'd be
And
fun. That'd be
yeah,
fun.
and I've contacted the place. Have to contact them back at this Friday to know about the pricing. Anthony, if you want to go and give him a knob and get a good price, that would be cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to investigating this place and looking forward to hearing that top 10 because I'm really curious to know who are in that uh, what
The,
countries are in that top 10.
the only thing I noticed with all lists, I don't know if it's right or wrong. A lot of these lists, they literally just take Canada and US and kind of just put it together. And for me, living up in Washington, where I'm only 2 hours away from Canada, I don't. I hate to say this, I don't even treat Canada like another country because they're us, we're them. I mean, when I go to Vancouver, it's just like me going to Seattle. It's the same. You know what I mean? The culture is really it's really the same.
We're like good neighbors, good friendly neighbors.
It is. It's awesome. Like I said, every single year, my wife and I go to Vancouver Island. Every year, that's where we do our anniversary because we love Vancouver Island. It's just beautiful. It's
Yeah,
awesome, and
it is.
everybody in Canada is so nice. And man, I tell you what, people, I'm telling you, I'm serious, people. The pubs. Now, this is, of course, the Canada on my side of the country, Vancouver and stuff. I don't know about the East, but the pubs, they take love and care in their food. Every
Oh
pub
yeah.
I go to in Vancouver, the island, the city, all their food is great. It's like they take extra pride, and the workers are nice. Where in America, they're some that's no offense, some workers are a little bitchy. Like, I don't
Yeah,
want to be
some of
here.
them, but I don't know. Yes, and I don't know. It's probably our French heritage that makes us Canadian proud of the food we make, and gives us a little
Yep.
something extra. Yeah.
And Terry Brown is right. Vancouver, the mountains that up there is a hot spot for Bigfoot because
Mm.
the Northwest all the way up to Canada, it's like all forest. So yeah, it is hot spot because
Everything,
Bigfoot can live in peace.
everywhere when you have dense forest, it could it is big possibility of Bigfoot sightings, and I'm a big believer of it. And yeah,
Yep. Now, before we go to the list, I do have a few videos. I found this one video that says ghost from different countries. So in this video, it's going to show every country and technically what is their most popular ghost there. I don't know how do they. I guess that's easy to determine. I guess I don't.
yeah.
So I'll play this and let's see
Let's
what
start like. Does it start by 10-9 or does it start by the top? I hope it starts.
countries on this one. This is not the list. This is just some video
Oh, okay,
picked up.
okay,
This video is just ghosts from different countries.
all
That's
right,
all it is. There's no like top 10 on this one. So
okay.
because if I do the list, show's over. So,
Well,
so
we can discuss in between because
we can't discuss, but let's see what famous ghosts are in different countries. Okay, so far, Romania, their ghost is Samka.
Samka,
Brazil is
Pisaderia,
I guess so. And then
Pisaderia,
Japan is Kusaki Onana, Santa Kampan.
Kuchisake Onna,
Now they're going to give
Kuchisake
us more.
Onna,
So if you live in these countries, this is, according to this is your top ghost in that country.
Santa Campania,
Philippines, it's the
Manananggal,
Mungazo.
the Dybbuk. And there's, can you stop it right there? You see his reel, the Dybbuk?
The Dybbuk, yes, in Israel.
And that is the word that people used to create what is known as Dybbuk boxes. And I will tell you, some people will say, no, it's true, it's true. It is not true. They use the name of the Hebrew devil or most feared spirit in the Israeli or in the Torah, and made it like a devil, and saying that the Dybbuk box is where you enclose the
Oh,
devil.
wow.
There's saying of it in the Torah, but that was never meant to be. And there's one guy that made the Dybbuk box, and he was selling it on eBay. He sold it, and afterwards, a couple of years later, probably 10 or 15 years later, he came forward and said it was all made up.
Oh wow.
So yeah, Dybbuk. There you go.
See, guys, I learn something every day. This is why we do this, so we all learn something. Now, guys, if you're from one of these countries, I don't know if one of you are, but let us know if this is a true list of their most popular ghost. So let's see here.
The Jiangxi, the Banshee in Ireland.
Yeah, I heard the Banshee. Oracle is
The Aika Kadika. The Ganger. Ifrit. La Soyana. Christian.
this picture here of South Korea.
Korea.
I see
And
that in a lot of the pictures. I mean, like a lot of
it,
the even on Canva that I use, seems like
yes,
that picture is in there.
we see her a lot in a Japanese movie and
Yes, yes,
South Korean,
yes.
because the South Korean culture is kind of the same of the Japanese culture. So, and look who we have, and Nepal,
I know
the
that's
Yeti.
interesting. Nepal, the Yeti. The Yeti is not a ghost. He's real.
Well, he's part of paranormal culture
Yeah,
for
you're right.
Nepal, and the Yeti, for me, is the ancestor of Bigfoot.
Yes, Danny. I saw the news this morning that
Oh
Hawaii's
yeah,
actually on fire, and because I was
yes.
seeing that South Airlines was letting people get on the plane back to America for $19.
Oh
So
yeah,
yes, I
it's
saw that whole story.
my heart goes out to everybody out in Hawaii.
Yeah, because
I'm truly, truly sorry to what is happening to you right now. I
because where can
if
you
I
really go, right? You're trapped on an island,
on an
more or less.
island, it's like the thing is erupting. It's a volcano, so wherever you're gonna go, the lava's gonna go.
You know,
And
my wife was always telling me that the one place that she would never live is Hawaii. Not because it's Hawaii, because she does not want to be trapped on islands where it's
yeah,
not
you're
connected to nothing. You know what I mean? Like you're you can't go nowhere, right? You're trapped on an island unless you fly out
exactly.
of
So
of, of any island. She would never move to any island, which I don't care to anyway.
yeah.
But I would love to go to Bali.
So,
But
and yes, Anthony, the Guishan is kind of like the demon or the spirit they make that was in the ring. Yeah.
Colin is
The Striga, Tai, Shade,
anytime you want me to pause, just tell me if you want to.
Short. Those I don't really know the Mainak.
But look at this one. This is interesting, Thalen, because it's like a woman holding a baby.
Mainak, yeah.
That's kind of a. It's kind.
It's probably.
Oh, really? The Bloody Mary is UK.
Oh yeah, yes,
I know the Bloody Mary story. You know, we of course grew up. Everybody did the Bloody
yeah.
Mary, but I technically didn't realize that's
It came
the
from
biggest
the
one
UK.
for the UK.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Penangalam. La Bola Fuego. Pokong.
I love the music they do.
Sakchuni. The Bell Witch.
Bell Witch, really? That's they're basing that off the movie. Huh.
That was the Blair Witch.
That's yeah.
That's
Right,
the Bell Witch.
the Bell Witch, huh?
Yeah.
I was wondering what because I saw this. I didn't want to watch it because I want to be surprised myself. But the Bell Witch is considered the U.S. #1 ghost. Huh.
Or paranormal kind of.
Paranormal, yeah.
Yeah.
Huh, interesting. I
And
didn't
for
know that.
India, they got Pichasha.
You know, I
Uh,
might have to do a show in the future on the whole Bill Witch theory. You
yeah,
know,
that would be kind of interesting. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. 'Cause I love that kind of stuff where you kind of give yourself a certain thing and you start to dive deeper into it
I
because you
don't
learn a
really,
lot of stuff that way.
and I don't really know the story about that, so it's going to be really interesting to learn
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
that.
Shoot. What the hell? Next Thursday, guys. Next Thursday. Thursday's Paranormal Thursday. I'm gonna do it on the Bell Witch.
Yeah, La Lorna, Mexico,
Yeah, I've
Chalteri,
heard of that one.
La
In
Lorna.
Mexico.
Yeah,
Yeah, because of course, I'm from Fresno, California, which is another is it's almost Mexico it's in itself. And I've used to hear stories about that one. And you don't want to mess with that spirit.
no, no, I heard stories about La Lorna, and it's kind of a really dark entity that you don't want to mess with.
I am disappointed that Canada is not on here. So
No,
does
there's no Canadian
so
ghost, so
but Harley, is there anything in Canada that's considered like their most famous ghosts by any
I would
chance? Like
I would put the Wendigo.
the Wendigo? Wow, God,
Yes,
that would be a hell of a good one to put on here.
and remember what I told you about the Wendigo? Something happened to me last night, and I'm not 100% positive, but I could really start to believe that Wendigo could be real, because we're hearing sounds and rustling in the brushes last night, and we're hearing sounds that were not really animal, and we had the word "I'm a shapeshifter" coming in, spirit talker. And Wendigos are known to be some kind of shapeshifters.
Yep.
And
That's the
uh,
scariest kind because you don't know when
uh, and that
they're by you.
and the rustling in the brushes was fast.
And guys, real quick, I'll put this link. I'll put this link. Let me share the screen real quick. Um, I'll put his link and I'll put it right there because you want to see some
Thank you.
good, really good investigations. I've said this before. Anybody comes here knows him that he does very good videos on the paranormal, and he had one that came out yesterday. York's
Yours
Chambers.
chambers. Yeah.
We found a ritual investigating. So if you guys don't get a chance, you guys should watch it. I put the link to his channel. Check that out. It's really, 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 really good. Now, what I'm
And
going to do is
so, some people, it just sorry.
oh, no.
Some people will say, "Oh, he clickbaits. He puts demon." If I put demon, what have I encountered? I qualify it as a demon, because sometimes the entities are so bad and so dark that I'm in my book I will qualify them as demons.
Yeah, you know, I guess everybody has different levels of what they consider what a clickbait is, and
Yeah,
to me, a clickbait to me is more of you're saying like I don't know if somebody who's a spy for the government, you're coming out saying that man's a spy, and there's nothing about him, right? You're
yeah,
making a suggestion. You're telling everybody this person is somebody, and they're not. That's like a clickbait where you're creating a fake kind of a story beyond that. You're doing an investigation about the paranormal that's there. If demons are involved or not, you're kind of explaining it. You're putting in the title. That's not a clickbait.
yeah.
But
Like,
if you
just
went to a house that nothing has happened there,
nothing happened, and
nothing,
I
and you said demons and houses, demons came after us. Now that could be clickbait because you made
yeah,
up a whole fake, no
title.
lights go off. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I'm not that kind of clickbait
no,
anyway. So
no. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to this list for a second, and I'll show you guys three of them, and then I'll go back to another video, and then we'll kind of space it out during the show. So right now, on according to a list, um, let me get a little bigger here. Number 10 is Colombia. So number 10, Colombia is considered now. Colombia, there's a lot of killings that goes on in Colombia, so they have the I'm not saying the formula, but there's a lot of bad deaths that happens in Colombia that families and we don't have to get into the whole history of Colombia, but there's a lot of bad stuff where people's lives end unexpectedly.
Even without the cartels and everything, you have you had that rebel movement for a certain amount of time, the FARCs that were roaming in the jungles of Colombia. So yeah, Colombia, that's really interesting.
Yeah, yeah. So that's number 10. Number 9, Netherlands.
The Netherlands.
You know.
Yeah.
You know. Hey guys, and I'll show you the article, but I don't want to just give you the whole top 10 and see it because that's no fun. So number 9 is the Netherlands. When I think top 10, I guess I could see Colombia, but I would never thought of Netherlands, but I guess it makes sense too.
And I just thought about Colombia because in Colombia too, you have the old Mayan.
Eric, Colombia has more redheads than Fresno.
And Colombia, you had that old Mayan, the Mayans that were in those places before the white man came.
True.
And the Mayans, well, when they were going to war, they were capturing their opponents, and they were sacrificed them to the sun. So there were lots and lots of killing back then. So, and the Netherlands, well, they're the whole countries. They're where most explorers went to explore the New World, and there were lots of trade in the Netherlands. And don't forget, New York City was founded by the Dutch.
That's true. That's true.
They were the first there.
I gotta ask a question to, because I'm trying to read the chat a little. It's hard to read and do both. But I see that Terry was saying he's been living with the ghost for 5 years. And Terry, I don't know if you answered this in the chat, or I saw you're talking to some people about it. Have you ever tried to do a cleansing to get rid of the ghost? I'm curious. So please put it in the chat if you have. I'm curious. All right, let's go to
number 8.
Number 8, Portugal.
Portugal. Yes. Yes, because when I went there, walking old Roman roads. So the Romans were in Portugal. You had that. Thank you, Terry. You had that oil. The wars with the Spanish, the invasion of the Ottomans, and Portugal, definitely.
Terry Brown says many times, Eric. So I wonder if you try to do a cleansing and it's still not leaving. I wonder, hey, Terry, have you ever had the house get blessed by a priest by any chance? I'm just curious.
Is it a bad entity that does everything to kick you out?
I saw something in the chat where he says it hates men.
Well, probably because sometimes you have to coexist with spirits. And if she hates men, try to learn where that hatred come from.
Good point.
And you try to kind of show the spirit that you're a good person. You're not the kind of bad person that the person that the previous I don't know what she is pissed about, you make it the opposite. So you're being kind to her. You're so you have to coexist, because sometimes people will say, "Oh, I have ghosts. They want me out of the house. Cupboard doors are opening," and no, probably just wants to be noticed and say, "Hey, I'm living with you. Can you talk to me? I'm here too."
Well,
Because
here's a
I have lots of times going in graveyards, and especially abandoned graveyards, having the word I'm I like talking with you, or something, or stuff like that, that they sound that they don't talk to lots of people, and they love when people talk to them or interact with them.
what? Wow, Terry says yes. The best man at my wedding became a priest. Wow, wow. He
Oh,
came over and blessed the place.
it ended
Year.
badly. Oh,
Wow,
okay. So you have like a Insdale kind of type of, oh,
that's interesting. Well, no, this next video, guys, is Scotland the scariest haunted place on Earth? I'm serious. I don't know. Did somebody put that in the title? I don't know if it's a clickbait or not. But according to this story about in Scotland, they're maybe saying it's the most scariest thing. But like every place always puts that claim that they're the most scariest. But let's check out this place in Scotland.
What sort of paranormal activity do you investigate in the series?
We cover quite a lot of things, actually. It's not just your usual stuff like ghosts or poltergeists. We also look at witches. We look at mythological creatures, which is quite unusual for these sorts of shows. Every single episode is really different. It's a big variety of paranormal phenomena.
And why do you think Scotland is the most haunted country in the world?
Well, I mean, when you look at it per capita, for the size of the country and the level of phenomena that's happening, it's incredible. And to me, you know, Scotland is one of the oldest nations. It's also incredibly culturally diverse. And throughout history, we've had lots of different belief systems integrated here. But more than that, you've also got a lot of trauma that's happened in Scotland. You've got, you know, years of genocide, oppression, wars, social cleansing, and some just really horrific.
I want to ask you, not hardly not. I'm not saying Scotland does a lot of countries. What she's explaining on the formula of the haunting there, but a lot of countries have gone through that themselves too.
If I take what she says, I will qualify Quebec as the most haunted country in the world, because per capita and the amounts of hauntings and the trauma and the war, deportations. Don't forget, the French came here, colonized the country. The British came over, tried to take by force a couple of times. They finally took it. The British deported the French from New Brunswick, Acadia, and New Caledonia. That is New Nova Scotia now. So we can go on and on and on and on, but yes, Scotland, I would approve 1000%. Like she said, all the trauma and everything, all
The formula's there.
Yeah, and I would, it could say the same thing for our southern neighbor, England. England could be, because per capita and everything, you got Pendle Hill, the witches, you got the Tower of London, all the beheading that happened there. I can go on.
A lot of people ask me, Eric, where you think is the most haunted place in America is, and I say, well, I don't know the individual. I said, but I believe that the East Coast is more haunted than the West, because there's more deaths, more battles, because that's the oldest part of the United States that
more history
came here. History started mostly in the East. I get the native land, I get that part, but there's more deaths that happen in the battles and stuff in the East versus the West. So there are more deaths. Now, that doesn't answer like what place is the most haunted, but more hauntings, I would say East Coast versus the West Coast.
And like Slow Motion says, could say the same thing about Ireland. The repression of the Catholics, the wars between the Protestants and the Catholics, the British invasion kind of, and the Normans, and I can go on.
You know what? You know, Gettysburg. You're right, Anthony. Because Bob and I's our story of the ghost happened at Gettysburg. So you're right. Our most haunted experience that we had was in the East Coast. So that's true.
And us here, we have the Battle of Louisbourg in Cape Breton, and here the Battle of the Plains of Abraham in Quebec City.
So let's see what else she has to say.
Crimes being committed here. So when you look at all of that trauma, and then you look at paranormal activity, it kind of starts to make sense as to, you know, why so many people report having paranormal experiences in Scotland.
So what sort of paranormal activity have you seen then? Could you describe some of the instances?
I mean, you know, some of the stuff that we had happen on the show included really strong and bizarre.
Oh, real quick, people. In Scotland, there's a TV show called Spooked Scotland. So when you hear her talk about a show, she's like the Ghost Adventures in Scotland.
Yeah.
So just people know when you hear a show, and I don't know how you can watch it. Maybe there's episodes on YouTube. I don't know.
Probably they have it on YouTube, because most of shows that I know that are on television, they have like something on YouTube.
Yeah. So I just want people to know that that's her TV show.
Audio phenomena where you have two kinds. You have, you know, phenomena that's kind of captured that we don't hear as people, and then when it's played back, there are voices or responses to things. And then you have direct voice phenomena, which is when something happens and everybody hears it, including, you know, the crew or the sound guy. And you know, we've also had you know, strange things happen that are a bit more common, like sudden plummets in temperature, fluctuations in electrical readings, equipment dying, you know, things that have got multiple battery packs. There's a person whose job it is just to look after that equipment suddenly dying. You know, just noises, even full-blown screams in a couple of episodes. Just, yeah, really, really bizarre stuff.
Well, bizarre, and it sounds utterly terrifying as well. I mean, serious question here, but do you find it frightening to witness stuff like that?
I mean, I don't scare easily, but you know,
we don't need to hear anything more from her. But you know, longer you do paranormal investigations, you know, more immune you do get to investigations. And I agree that per sound, when you hear a sound, it is better if there's a sound that the whole crew, everybody can hear, because then you have more backing, you know, when everybody hears something versus maybe just one person, or you catch something on an EMP. Like your video, Harley, you had that one video you show where the thing said "get out" and you can hear it.
I still have it.
You know what I mean? Those are the best, because when you have multiple people hear it, you know, more people you see it, more people will believe it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I still have it. If some of you want to hear it, I went to do an investigation and I felt really uneasy. And yeah.
Well, let's go back to this list. Let's go to the next three. Here we go. Oh, hold on. Oh, man.
Oh, no.
Oh, hold on. Well, there's only three. I just clicked on it.
And those three.
It gave the next three. So that's fine. Number 7 is the Philippines. Number 6, Puerto Rico. Number 5, Germany. You know what? Honestly, I would have thought that Germany would have been higher on this list, because I don't want to get into what happened, you know, in the World War II, but they had the most massive deaths in a war that you ever saw.
And it's not just the Jews. Lots of German people, lots of civilians lost their lives. When the Allied were bombing in those German cities, well, it was war. So they were bombing like Germans were doing on London. They were bombing cities and civilians. So yes, Germany, but in fifth, yeah, yeah.
You know,
Philippines.
like I said, we don't make these lists, and you know, and nobody really, truly knows
And
because
the Philippines, I would have thought that they would have been probably higher. Puerto Rico, I'm not sure, but Philippines, because well, you had like all those colonials that is uh, went to colonialize the Philippines. And the Catholics, when they came there, they were like forcing the people to get into the Catholic religion. So,
let me
yeah.
see here. Now, Robert said East Timor, Indonesia is the most haunted place on the planet that I have seen. I've been all over the world. Well, yeah, if you've been all over the world and that place is for you that you've been there is the most haunted, who are we can't question that because we don't know.
Yeah.
Could be the most technically haunted. It's hard to it's hard to put together on, but there is a building in America that's supposed to be most haunted than any other place. This is kind of a fun, only 30-second, it's only 36-second video.
Heavily protected house in America is also supposedly the most haunted. The White House has been home to every president except Washington, and with that much messy history in the walls, it's no surprise things get spooky. And it's not just tourists getting chills in hallways. Residents and visitors like Winston Churchill have reportedly encountered the ghost of Abraham Lincoln, who may be the most frequently sighted spirit in the place. Ronald Reagan said his dog would happily go anywhere but the Lincoln bedroom, where he'd just sit outside and bark. Harry S. Truman wrote in a letter to his wife that he'd been visited by some mysterious form at the door of his bedroom one.
Whoa, he probably had a mistress that somehow lost his life somehow, not saying conspiracy, and now that haunted woman is at his door. I don't know. This, like I said, this one's just for fun.
And Thomas Jefferson's been known to show up playing his violin. There's no word on any crystal flutes though.
You know, listen, we would never ever get the opportunity to ever go to the White House and do a paranormal investigation. But do you think there's a chance of a lot of these presidents are haunting the White House, even though a lot of them probably died at their own house?
A medium told me once that ghosts will stay where they found themselves the most comfortable. If a president like President Lincoln, all of his career, most of his actions were done in the White House when he signed the Emancipation Proclamation. All those he was doing that within the White House. So for him, probably the right place to be in the afterlife is like staying in the White House and probably trying to get some knowledge to all those president that goes through the White House. I don't know.
You never know. They don't allow. I don't think there's ever been a TV show where they allow a TV show to come in and investigate the White House. I never heard of that, but it would be. Sure. It would be interesting. But
it is made out of white granite, I think. And that certain type of rocks are really conductive and really they are batteries for energy. So keep that in mind.
Let's check this list out. Let's go to the next.
Japan. I would have thought Japan would have been higher, probably more in third.
You know what? I'm just going to show the whole thing because we all know what number one is. I mean, if you haven't seen it on the list, okay. So we'll just go there. So the USA, the UK, Ireland, Japan is in the top 4. So Ireland is a lot like Scotland. They've gone through almost the exact same thing as Scotland has gone through. So I guess I
Yeah.
can see that.
But
Now
at
the UK.
numbers, yeah,
Let's
UK.
talk about the UK now. People in the UK always says that America and everybody always more or UFOs. You know, we're above the UFOs, the paranormal. I don't know. According to the report, they get a lot of reporting done in the UK, so I don't know who they're kidding themselves.
But yes, I'm Canadian, and I'm a little bit disappointed that Canada is not there, because I would have put Canada somewhere in there, because I know all our huntings are not really reported. We don't have those many.
Maybe because, like I'm saying, like maybe people put Canada like kind of like Canada / USA.
I don't know, because I would have probably put it instead of Puerto Rico, because yes, Puerto Rico had this share of.
Now, like I said, this is a
not
real,
compared to Canada. Come on.
Now, this is a real article. Here, I'm going to put this link into this article. So I just want to show people this list is not made up by me and stuff. I'll put the link if anybody wants to read the article themselves. The UK has been named the second scariest, because the story came out of the UK.
Yeah.
But they were number 2. So in the country with its haunted locations, UFO sightings, and they're also mixing UFO sightings along with the haunted location.
Oh.
So I guess you can see that the UK is saying there's a connection with paranormal and UFOs. That's kind of interesting that they add UFOs, even though the article says paranormal activity. But I guess paranormal is more than just ghosts. It can also be
because
UFO.
when you say paranormal, it's everything that is not normal.
And then,
like UFOs, Bigfoots, ghosts, cryptids. And
the analysts array devilish data such as number of reported ghosts and UFO sightings, along with the horror movies, locations, and haunted historic places, to give each of the 35 countries a ranking out of 10 for each category. The U.S. topped the list for overall score, 32 out of 40, while the UK was in second with 28, scoring 8 of the mystical creatures and 9 for UFO sightings. I think the reason why the U.S. is probably higher than the UK is the U.S. is not they're less afraid to speak out to report things than the other countries. You know, U.S. ain't really super afraid of UFOs. I'm talking about percentage-wise against other countries. You know, there is more passion, in my opinion, with Canada and America with UFOs, Bigfoot, and paranormal versus other places in the country and the world.
And they saying being reported, like it's
reported, exactly.
So if a country reports everything that comes to mind or everything that comes true, well, it's going to be deemed the most haunted country in the world. But probably the country right beside it, you have more hunting and everything is more intense. So
Iron Dogger is headed into her ejection. Are you getting the Corazon shot in the back? Actually, I got a Corazon shot yesterday in my leg, but I had one in my spine, and let me tell you, I don't want to say it because they did not feel good. But beyond that, but you know what? Since Canada wasn't on this list, it doesn't mean I don't have a video about Canada for my friend here. This video I'm going to show you, my friend. It's called Top 5 Haunted Houses in Canada.
In Canada.
So maybe you can, if you see one that you recognize, let us know. Let's check out the top 5. So Canada is on my list somehow right here. So we didn't leave Canada out. So let me get here.
With Halloween fast approaching, we thought we'd talk about the scary world of haunted real estate. Here are the top 5 haunted places across Canada. Coming in at number 5 is Highcroft in Vancouver. The home was initially built in 1911 for General Alexander Duncan McCrae. He later donated it to the Canadian government, where it became a veterans convalescent hospital. Although Highcroft has since become home to the University Women's Club of Vancouver, it can't seem to shake off its past and is reportedly haunted by 7 ghosts. The first 2 ghosts are of an old man dressed as a World War I officer and a well-dressed woman, believed to be the original owners, General and Mrs. McCrae. The third is the ghost of the head nurse from the days when Highcroft was a hospital. The fourth is of a man deemed the Crying Man, who sobs loudly from a lower floor room. The last 3 ghosts are called the Pranksters, consisting of Army veterans that roam the building, flickering lights and slamming doors. Coming in at number...
Well, I just want to say, well, you know now, Harley, if you ever come to Vancouver, we know that a place that we should try to hit.
The Highcroft, and I hope we can go in there because it looks like a high class kind of place. But yes, with all those World War I veterans coming back,
makes
and
sense.
being traumatized and having that energy, and probably some of them passing in that place. Yeah.
And man, that'd be interesting to hear the crying soldier. That'd be interesting. So let's hear what number 4 is in Canada.
4 is La Boheme Bed and Breakfast in Edmonton. The guests have claimed to hear some pretty disturbing noises at this bed and breakfast. And if the rumors are correct...
Pause it just a moment. No. Derry Brown? Little history. And no, it's not a British territory ruled by the French also. Canada was discovered by French explorer in 1534, Jacques Cartier. It was taken over by the British in 1759. It became a part of the British Empire until 1867, when it became its own country. So before 1867, yes, Canada was part of the UK, was part of the empire. But after 1867, Canada became its own country.
Yeah.
And we kept French because when the British invaded Quebec City in 1759, they told everybody that they could keep French, but the language would be English spoken in stores and everywhere else on the territory.
I mean, technically, America all came from Britain and all that. All the bad people, they sent them all here. So, I mean, we're all part of another country. And then, of course, like you said, America became its own country. Canada became its own country. And, and we carry influences from parts of the countries that thing came from. So and now this place here, where is Edmonton in the first place? What part of Canada is that in?
What's that?
This number 4, where it says there's haunted places in the city of Edmonton, or what does it say? Where's this one from? Oh, right here.
Edmonton.
Where's that at?
In Alberta.
So that was in Alberta. Okay. Yep. So that's in the middle of Canada.
Yeah, just after British Columbia. You got British Columbia, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Ontario, Quebec, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, and all the Far East, Newfoundland.
Stairs. Legend has it that the original caretaker of this once luxury apartment building murdered his wife, dragged her body down 3 flights of stairs, and burned her in the coal-fueled furnace. Her ghost continues to haunt the hotel, tapping on guests' shoulders and even elevating your bed. If you want to meet her on Halloween night, ask for room 7.
All right, guys, room number 7.
Room
and
number 7.
I'm sure they charge a premium for room number 7.
Probably.
But if there's a chance of your bed floating, I'll take it.
I can't wait to see the other ones.
Let's see. What is number 3 in Canada?
Coming in at number 3 is the Fairmont Royal York Hotel in Toronto. The Fairmont Royal York Hotel is one of Toronto's oldest and most upscale hotels, which could be why its old guests have difficulty parting ways with it. The building is reportedly haunted by several ghosts. The first is a gray-haired man who is often seen on the 8th floor. Apparently he murdered his wife on his honeymoon night and then himself. His wife's ghost still lingers in the room she was murdered in. Paranormal activity has also been reported in the ballroom. Guests claim to see spirits twirling and chandeliers shaking aggressively. Coming in.
Hold on a second. So, on a wedding night, the man killed his
His wife, and he committed. He killed himself. Yeah.
Wow. Of
and
all
hotels.
days to do that, it's
And hotels, they have lots of history, especially those old hotels like that.
so you heard. I saw your
Oh, yeah, the
reaction.
yard.
So that hotel really is haunted.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you actually gone there yourself?
No, not because let's say my wallet is not thick enough to have
Oh.
one room in that place.
But say like you and I, our wallet is big enough to go in there, but because the amount of people that sleep in these rooms, you think the chances of fun activity probably drops a little bit because the amount of people that are already in there, right? Like, compare if it was empty, it'd be harder. Not harder.
It would be harder, but I've been to places that have been abandoned for a while, and the activity was as high as the other places where a bunch of people go all over the place. So,
Well, let's hear number 2 most haunted houses in Canada. What is number 2?
Number 2 is 455 Rue St. Pierre. The St. Pierre apartment was built in 1865 and was originally owned by Pierre Ducalver. He welcomed famous guests from all over North America, including Benjamin Franklin. Rumor has it that Calvert's wife, Mary Louise, was a little too friendly with some of Pierre's guests. The ghost of Mary Louise is still seen today in what is now a loft-style apartment. Unsurprisingly, she is often seen smiling seductively at male tourists and residents.
and
Now, what do
Number
we know
two.
about that place?
number 2, that building is abandoned in Montreal. It was an hotel and a bar, and it closed down during COVID and didn't reopen up. So it's still closed. My friend Don from 13th Spirit has been trying to get into that building for ages. I'm trying to find the owner of the building to try to get something out of it. But yes, it's near the old port of Montreal. It is on the list of the most haunted place in Montreal. When you go do ghost tours in Montreal, they talk to you about that place.
All right. The drum roll for the number 1 most haunted house in Canada. Here we go. Let me do the drum sound.
I just hope. Well, if it's not the Old Angel Inn, I will talk to you about the Old Angel Inn afterwards.
Okay. Here, let's see. Here we go. It's probably going to be somewhere in Vancouver, right? The biggest city. But who knows? Let's see.
I don't know.
If you're a fan of the movie Hostel, you'll definitely want to check out our number 1 pick, Ottawa's County Jail. In 2005, director Eli Roth shocked theaters with his cautionary tale of European tourist spots. We can't have a top list of haunted places in Canada without mentioning Ottawa's infamous county jail, which is now a youth hostel and regarded as the most haunted place in Canada.
And you
Hostel
can go
visitors.
through there.
All right. So what's the story about that place?
It's now a hotel. You can sleep there.
Oh, really?
Yes, they made out of the hotel out of the place, and all those old county jails are haunted. I've been to an old county jail in New Brunswick, the Dorchester jail. Remember the jail I got locked in? Yeah. So it is haunted. I still have relics of that place. This is a playing card that was found in one of the walls of the jail.
Oh, wow.
And that piece of chunk there, that's a piece of death row.
Now,
Because
what was this place you're talking about that you're saying is very haunted?
the Old Angel Inn. The Old Angel Inn is situated in Niagara-on-the-Lake. And why in Niagara-on-the-Lake? Because the city was invaded and ransacked and burned to the ground by the Americans in the War of 1812. And in the cellar of that place, a British officer hid in a barrel because he was waiting for his mistress, to save his mistress, because he knew the Americans were coming. So when you learned the Americans were in town, he hid in a barrel. The Americans, when they came in the hen, well, they didn't take the time to look into the barrel. They just stabbed the barrel with the captain in it. And it is one of the most haunted places. The city, the whole town of Niagara-on-the-Lake is one of the most haunted cities in Canada, if not the most haunted city in Canada.
Wow.
Because of the War of 1812.
That's crazy.
And that's coming. The Old Angel Inn, I'm going there very soon, so I'm gonna go. And his name was Captain Swayze. No, it was not Patrick Swayze. It was...
My brother said that's awesome. Harley keeps haunted artifacts on him.
Yeah, but not actually on me, but I have them here. I have this. I don't know if it's haunted, but it's an old item that I found in a antique store.
I'll tell you what's haunting: having a dog next to you cutting the cheese. Oh God!
I found this.
Oh,
in an antique store. It's an old World War II field officer field cap from the Royal Signal Corps. And it's, you see the lining, it's brand new. I don't know if it was war, but I love those old memorabilias. And yeah, and my friend Chelsea, she made me a magnificent frame with a butterfly, and that frame is an old frame. You see it's broken. It's an old frame that dates back to, like, I think 1800s or something. So yeah, like keeping old stuff.
Everybody, I'll show you what's coming up in the future. Like, I know Harley's got to leave himself. On my channel tomorrow is going to be a very interesting show. Dr. Wu will be back on tomorrow. We're going to be talking about was it giant people or aliens who built the pyramids? So we're going to be talking about who built the pyramids, and my brother has got a theory that probably not a lot of people never heard of, and that's going to be brought up tomorrow on who really built the pyramids. I say both. I don't know, who knows. You know, hey, listen. We might listen. Regular Egyptian people might have really built it, like they said, with tools. I mean, you know, but we're gonna have fun with this. We're gonna have fun with different theories. Because some people believe it was aliens. Some people saying giants. I'm not gonna say what my brother thinks, because you have to come back tomorrow to hear his theory. And let me tell you, his theory is very, very interesting. But also,
he's saying I won't tell.
You won't tell. I don't want to say. And then Exploring Harley. So what do you got coming up on your channel?
Next week I have the poor farm that I did in Nova Scotia. That is the last video of that Nova Scotia trip. It's not on the channel. I still have to edit it. And I will probably put together the time that I went to investigate that house, that really evil house in Ontario. The church, a little blue church in Ontario. It's a little chapel in the middle of a graveyard. And the last night's investigation, I went to the Maplewood Cemetery. It's an old settlement cemetery. It was built before there was houses in the place. and they kicked out all the Abenaki that were settled there. And the Abenaki graveyard, well, the settlers decided to build their own on the top of this one. So it was really interesting.
Yeah. And people in the chat, if my email address is paranormalhighway13@gmail.com. If you guys got suggestions on, you guys know lately I've been doing what's the bigger story. So if you guys got two stories you think you want to go against each other, let me know. Email it to me. Somebody in the chat says, Eric, you should do one Winchester versus the White House.
No,
That's a fun
that's a
possibility
good one.
of
Yeah, that
kind,
would be.
that's kind of a same level type of a haunting. You know, what would be considered a bigger story. So that's a good one. So if you guys got ideas like what's the bigger Bigfoot story, UFO story, I love doing stuff like that. I love talking about both stories. And then for fun, you pick what's the bigger story for yourself. I love
And
that
I'm
stuff.
on my road to 10K, guys. Please, that would be really appreciated. I've been so freaking overwhelmed by the answer that I have with what I've put, and yeah, thank you so much.
Hey, good content will win at the end of the day. Good content is good content. You know, if you're real, people know the real person, and you will win. So beyond that, everybody, I want to thank you guys for being here today. That was awesome.
Thank you for having me.
You know, if you guys want to go to another channel right now, I know Bigfoot Michigan Rob is on. Great guy. He was on my channel last week. He's good person. I'll see a lot of you over on his channel. Actually, I can't. I forgot. I got myself an appointment in less than an hour. But beyond that, guys, thank you for showing. Harley, it's always fun. I love discussing this. I knew I had to get Canada in there somewhere. So hopefully
thank you for putting Canada up there.
so hopefully that give you some satisfaction. But at the end of the day, it's all about having fun, people. Beyond that, we'll see you next time on the Paranormal Highway.